Hello, 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 hello. Welcome to Fo's Journey Across the Bridge. I'm Fozia. Happy Sunday or Monday. Happy Monday. How are you guys doing today? Welcome to Fo's Journey Across the Bridge, the healing series. Today we are going to talk about connections that we make in relationships with the opposite sex. So I was listening to a podcast and they were talking about this topic, and it just kind of like triggered an awareness in me. So I thought, okay, I want to come and talk about this because I feel like I relate to this, and there was some healing that I had done around this, and so I thought this would be a good topic to come and talk about with regards to healing. So of course, 3 deep breaths. I'm also noticing that when I'm coming to record, I don't know if it's like nerves or anything, but then my voice just gets a little bit like there's this heaviness in my voice. So, you know, just sharing that observation. So 3 conscious breaths. So they were discussing how sometimes when you are dating a person, that person could be, you know, the age of an adult, but they haven't fully grown mentally, spiritually, emotionally to the age of an adult. So they are still a kid within them, right? So a kid who's in an adult body, and so on. So when you interact with them in an intimate setting, you're experiencing the kid rather than the adult, right? And so just in their sharing, I was thinking how, you know, that goes back to healing the inner child, goes back to doing the inner work. Because if you've never done the work of healing the inner child, no matter if you are 30, 40, 50, 80, you can grow in age, but that child is stuck somewhere, stuck in that age. And so it's going to appear, right? That inner child is going to express itself in different aspects of your life. So it's doing the work that then matures and heals and grows the inner child so that you are all incorporated within yourself, are healed, operating from the space of I'm conscious of my inner child that's still within me, but my healed inner child, so that when my inner child does show up, it's in a playful way rather than in an immature way. Now, it makes sense that kids don't have maturity or full maturity, because as maturity is about growing, it's about learning, it's about being exposed to experiences that then allow you to mature. So it's normal for a kid to be immature, right? Now, when you're showing that immaturity as an adult, and it's not just, you know, in a way that you're being conscious of it, or even if you're being playful about it, but rather is just showing up and you're not understanding that that's not healthy or that's not normal. And then you just continue in that pattern, not realizing that it's really the inner child that's wounded, that's really leading and operating in your life, right? Who's in full control. But when you're healed and you have been doing the work to heal your inner child, you are able to fully be present in your adult self and still receive the blessings and the knowledge and the creativity of the inner child, rather than the inner child just fully taking over and saying, that aspect that had to take over to protect you when you're a kid is still doing it. So you're growing, but you're not maturing, right? So it was being shared as like, you know, there's a lot of adults out there that are still kids inside them, but they're in this full-grown adult body. And I thought, that's exactly the evidence of when a person has a wounded inner child. These are the things. So it's not about pointing finger or criticizing or calling someone immature or identifying like, oh, you know, just in a judging or yeah. So it's like when you see the evidence of that, if you can hold compassion for those people, to just acknowledge, oh my God, they have a wounded inner child that still needs to be healed. They need to do the work to heal the inner child, to heal the wounds of the past, so they can mature into the full, mature soul that is here on this human experience, you know. And so are people always receptive to hear that? But no. But even for those of us that are doing the inner work of healing the wounds of the past, of healing the inner child, it's not necessary to go and say, hey, do you know that you're wounded here or you are being immature? But rather just for us having that awareness and then operating and moving when we interact with someone who's demonstrating that they need to heal, you know, we can then operate differently. We can move differently with them, right? We can become conscious of like, okay, I'm not really talking to an adult, even though I'm seeing that person as an adult. I'm actually talking to their wounded inner self, their wounded inner child. So from that space, then it's not to talk down to them or to be degrading, but rather to be aware of how you're then receiving what they're saying, and at the same time to be aware of how they're going to receive what you are saying. So it's not on the same playing field. So that's empowering for oneself, right? It's empowering for me to be aware of that, not to be like, oh, they're immature, or they're, you know, they are, what's the word, that broken or this and that. No, it's, yeah, they are parts of them that need healing. And if I can be conscious of that, then I can have a different and more pleasant experience while interacting with someone who's showing that, rather than taking things personally, because often it's a projecting that's happening. So, and then when you identify, okay, this person is moving this way and acting this way and showing up this way, then I am more empowered to then move around them or be around them differently. So I wanted to give an example for myself because there's a question that I wanted to ask, or there's a question that I wanted to explore. So I was maybe, I was like 17 and I was at a neighbor's house and we were like just hanging out. And she had a friend over, and the friend was super cute. So of course, you know, not of course, but I thought they were super cute and I was attracted to them. And so they were so comfortable and who they are, and they started to flirt with me. And so of course I was interested in them in the sense that I thought they were cute and all of that, but I wasn't like, I didn't know that they were interested in me to the point where they would start flirting with me. And the moment they started flirting with me, I could feel myself become completely uncomfortable, to the point where I had not fully realized this discomfort within myself until he said, oh my God, are you going to cry? Why are you getting so emotional? Why are you scared? And that was the first time, I feel like that was the first time where I became fully conscious of like what was happening in terms of my response. My response was, this person now likes me, the opposite sex likes me, so now I could be in danger, right? This is something that kind of like trigger wounds of the past, of childhood, right? So it's like, oh, if this person is checking me out, if they're looking at me, can I protect myself from them? I didn't see it as I was you know, in my late teens, and I was in a space where I can have interaction with the opposite sex that was interested in me in a way that I didn't feel threatened. It always, whenever there was someone that was interested in me and that I was interested in as well, I would somehow shut down and I would revert to this wounded little girl who didn't know what to do in circumstances like that. So I would just freeze within my body, or I would just start having these complete like fear that would just take over me, that I wouldn't know what to do in that situation. Because when I had experienced traumatic events and attacks in my past, I didn't know how to protect myself. I only entered the space of like freeze, like it was almost like I just froze, right? So that was something that I had talked about in a previous video where, you know, I would freeze in fear. So that was something that was interesting. So I started becoming aware, and I was exploring that with myself from that age. I was like, okay, what is that? So I was becoming more and more aware in such circumstances where if I was into someone and they were then showing interest in me, I would just revert into this like, oh my God, I'm scared, I don't know what to do. Because I didn't have the tools. I didn't have the tools of how to engage with the opposite sex, other than outside of friendship. In a friendship sense, I knew, but in terms of like someone, you know, romantically interested in me and I was interested in them, when those situations came up, I didn't have the tools. I didn't fully have the tools of how I can confidently show up in my abilities of being a young lady, and my abilities of being a woman, and my abilities of going through this experience in a healthy way. I didn't know what that looked like because I had experienced an unhealthy version. So years go by. Of course, I'm becoming more and more aware that when I'm interested in a man, this is the beginning of my healing journey. When I'm noticing this, I am then feeling like I'm powerless, like they have a say over the experience that we're going to have more than I have a say. So it's always like bringing me back to this space of like being helpless, right? So even though I see someone, they see me, and we like, oh, this is cool, right away it becomes where, oh, this is scary, you know, how am I supposed to like safely navigate this process of talking to someone, of getting to know someone, of someone that then likes me and I can be safe with them. So it took me a very long time to get to the place where I had to learn techniques to allow myself to be present with my body, with the fear, and to be aware of what I was feeling, because I would feel danger, but then I would say to myself, are you really in danger? Am I in danger right now talking to this man? Am I in danger? And so I think what I'm trying to say in terms of like, not just the awareness that when you are interacting with someone and they have this wounded inner child that's then showing up rather than the adult, but I'm bringing it back to let us be that adult that still has, let's put ourselves in the shoe of the person that is, their inner child is still wounded or still healing. And let's talk about how we can then do the work. How can we then do the work of healing that within ourselves so we can go forward, right? So I would practice conscious breathing. I would talk to the thoughts in my head that are like, this is dangerous, and trying to step into a space of panic. So rather than allowing myself to go into panic all within my body and not just expressing it externally, but internal panic, I would say, you know, well, they don't seem dangerous. You know, I can always get up and leave. There's a door right there. I can scream. So I would talk myself to become aware of all the tools that I have, but at the same time, kind of like talk the fear that's emergent in me and let that fear know this is a false alarm. Like, this is a false alarm. And so what had happened with the trauma was, of course, it created the signals, the normal response signals within my body to overreact and to be overactivated. Like, it's unlearning those, is reteaching my body to not to go into fight or flight mode all the time. It's teaching my body not to, you know, immediately go into the signaling of the alarm, fire, danger, all that stuff. So it's about getting the awareness, and then acting, and then practicing in real life, because you can practice, of course, by yourself, by coming up with tools like, you know, if I'm experiencing fear in such a situation, what are my safety practices that I have prepared in advance that I can use in this situation. So that's in everyday life, right? And so that's like, even if you were to tell a friend or to tell, you know, your kids, if they're going to be in a certain environment, call me if you need me, don't do this. So you have safety practices ahead. So I had to develop that in advance, and then I had to practice it in real life, where I would be present in my body, right, through conscious breath, through calming myself down, and through analyzing the situation, if it was real danger or not. Because I think what had happened in the past was, when danger comes through a familiar person or in a familiar environment, you then kind of like self-attack. It's like, how can you not have seen this danger, right? When danger was never introduced by this person or these people before, or this environment. It was like, all of a sudden, danger came from familiar people and familiar spaces. So it gets your mind to be completely confused, and then it enters this space of like, what can I trust? Who can I trust? Where is safe? And imagine, as a kid, not having the tools and not having the support to go through the process of healing, and then realizing years later that you need to heal. And so the compassion, where I'm then saying that should be extended to someone, is not to get into a relationship with them and try to help them and save them, because that comes back to also like codependency and all of that. No, what I'm saying is just to be aware that not everyone knows that how they're behaving is abnormal or is not the normal behavior. It is a trauma response. Not everyone knows that, because for a very long time, I had taught that my expression of self was just who I was. I didn't realize that I was responding from a space of trauma. I was responding that way due to trauma. I didn't know that. So the more I questioned it, the more I received awareness, the more I understood behaviors that's shown up in situations that it didn't require for it to be that way, right? So it's from those awarenesses, and it's from maybe even just my soul finally getting to the place where it's like, it's time to awaken, right? And then the right people coming into my life. And then as I do my healing work with different coaches and different therapists and people who have the tools, then it's little by little, you know, I'm becoming more and more conscious of, hey, this is not a normal behavior. This is not a normal response. And then finding books and then reading and understanding. So the point I'm trying to make in this is, first, if you come across someone who's a full-grown adult, but you're noticing a lot of childish behavior and maturity, and they are more showing up as a child, I would say become aware of that, and through holding compassion for them, you can then interact with them differently. You can choose to say, in a friendship level, that's not someone for me, because I'm fully doing my work and I'm maturing within myself, and I want someone who can carry themselves. And same with intimate relationships. I want someone who can carry themselves. And so you can then identify and hold compassion rather than come with criticism and judgment. And now for those of us who have become aware that we had traumatic events in our past, because all of a sudden it wasn't blocked anymore, right? All of a sudden it's not a door that we never were able to open, a space where we could never revisit. When we have already opened the door, entered the space in our, and have been going through the inventory of the wounds and understanding how deep certain issues are, and have been really doing the work for us to feel and be aware of the fact that we received the awareness that allowed us to wake up. And now we are in the space of like observing ourselves with different behaviors and emotions that show up. Because even for me, still till this day, the moment that I'm aware that part of me that is still wounded, that I'm still healing, is present, or my inner child, is through spelling. So when I'm writing, sometimes I will know the word, I can visualize the word, but there are parts of the word I can't fully see, and I can retrieve just from my memory. So this connection of retrieving, like having the memory of a word, you have written it many times, and then all of a sudden you are trying to remember how it's written, and then there's this fear of I can't remember it. And not only does it feel like energy is blocked between my hand and my brain, but it feels like I need to become almost like I need to take deep breaths, and then I need to say, okay, I can't get it from my mind right now. Let me look it up. So I have been very gentle with myself, understanding that my child, my inner child, the young version of me as a kid, there's a lot of things that I didn't learn because I was denying myself to learn them, right? So I never learned them, and as an adult, or in my stages of having learned these different vocabulary, I still have this part of my brain that, you know, it doesn't retrieve as it used to. So becoming aware of where I am, becoming aware of what I need to still grow in, becoming aware of all of that allows me to be gentle with myself. So I do know when my brain is responding that way, I'm associating that with, this is my inner child letting me know her presence. This is something that needs to come up, that needs to be healed. So this is something I'm still exploring further, right? So of course there's a lot of there are tools in terms of healing trauma, healing the brain that has experienced trauma, and there's different therapy techniques that are out there to assist you with the part of the brain that could still be restored, all of that. So just being aware and taking the small steps necessary for myself to grow myself, to heal myself, but at the same time not to let that stop me, right? So I still continue to move forward, and I still allow myself the compassion to be gentle with myself, to just be gentle with myself, and not to be criticizing and judging and thinking, oh, if people see this or people find out that, they're going to judge you. I am okay with people misunderstanding me. I'm okay with people judging me. Of course, the judging part I'm still working through, but in terms of stuff that I know that I'm working through, then I'm like, ask me a question if you want, and we'll have a conversation. But if you want to judge me to put me in a category, then that's serving you more. And then you just want to have a perception of me that's not true to me. And that perception serves you. It benefits you, doesn't benefit me. So just becoming conscious of that. And also the other one is having compassion in the sense that Some people don't know. Some people literally, because they have closed that door, they have trapped and locked the inner child in a safe place, they don't know the way they are operating and moving in life. It's a trauma response. To them, that's normal. That's who they are. They don't even catch that they are an adult operating as a child, as a kid. They don't know this. So, and often people don't they'll answer the call of healing the inner child because it is scary work. Sometimes there's parts of it that you can't do alone because the fear of having experienced the trauma alone, it's already enough to trap you in that space, right? So the reason people don't revisit old wounds is because it's scary. It's not the adult that's facing it, it's the kid that's facing it. And the kid doesn't want to, so the kid refuses the opportunity for you to go down that road. So the kid has to be first safe with you. Your inner child has to be able to trust you first, to allow you to open the door to visit the wounds of the past. And if the inner child does not trust the adult you, because the inner child may have been neglected by other adults, the inner child may have not had adults that were present that kept it safe, the inner child may have been attacked by adults. So how can the inner child know that you can keep them safe when you could not have kept them safe as a kid, when they could not have kept themselves safe as a kid? So now it's about you practicing in your daily life, showing that you're making choices that are good for you. It starts as small as your inner child saying, I want to rest. Are you allowing the inner child to rest, or are you bringing them in a social event and you know, having them be in this environment that they don't want to be in? Are you feeding the inner child food that the inner child does not want to eat? So it's small actions like that that you must become aware of. So it takes a lot to start doing your healing work. And sometimes you don't make the choice. Sometimes your soul is like, it's time, right? And that's why I'm saying a lot of people, or some people, are terrified to start that healing work because it is scary for the inner child to go and visit the past alone. They don't trust the adult self to be able to protect them. So when you see people in those different circumstances, you as yourself, be understanding of who you're interacting with and try to remove the judgment from that. Now, in terms of what was being said, because it's like, if you are, it's almost like the statement was, you know, you meet someone and that person is an adult, but there's an inner, they're operating from the inner child. So the first question is this: are you attracting that person because you are vibrating on that same frequency? Are you still fully operating from the inner child space rather than the adult that you are? So that's one question. And so, and sometimes the flip side of that I wanted to kind of explore was like, the inner child is attracting the inner child of another adult because you're both in that vibration, right? But imagine if, like, if the inner you, the child you, was attacked by an adult. So that adult that had attacked the kid was an adult body, but a child inside, right? And so now, if we were to study the dynamics of that, so when you're doing your healing as well, you become aware of, like, if you are you attracting someone because you're in the same vibration, right? And at the same time, you want to look at, you're attracting someone because they have the energy of the person that then neglected you, attacked you, abused you, or whatever, because you haven't yet healed it, because you have that fear, you have that, like, it's almost like it's kind of like reflecting it to you so that you can then become aware of it, so then you can heal it. So if you come across someone who's, or if you keep coming across people that are adults but they're operating from the child self, then ask, what is that telling me? What is that telling me about me? Where am I in that? You know, am I also in the same vibration and same frequency? But also, if you are then attracting someone who is operating from a space of the inner child, and you are attracting them in a romantic sense, are they somehow bringing the energy of the abuser? Are they somehow, have you healed that? Have you healed or disconnected from the energy of the abuser? And the reason I'm saying that is because I was thinking how, this is for someone who's doing the work, someone like me, who's doing the work of healing the inner child, right? So I'm conscious of the fact that my inner child was wounded, and I'm conscious of how my inner child shows up in different circumstances, and I'm becoming aware of that, and I'm doing the work for when I see the behavior in those circumstances, I address it, right? Now, in the romantic sense, right, was the person who had abused me, who was an adult, they were a kid, they were an adult, but they were stuck in a space of a kid, or in the energy of their inner child, right? What is that needs to be healed and cut off there? What is that? And so for me, that's what the question that had come up when I was watching that podcast. Like I wanted to explore that further, right? Because they say if you grew up in an environment where you saw things that were normal, like I watched another podcast yesterday that talked about how if you're in an environment where the neighborhood is a very dangerous neighborhood, but you grew up in it and that's all you know, you don't think that's not normal until you see someone get killed in front of you. And then you're like, wait a minute, this is not normal. And then you start noticing crackheads and other people around you. And then you start to see like the walls of dysfunctional like start to appear. You no longer like, oh, this is normal, right? So it's like, yeah, this is something I'm definitely going to say with a bit further. This is something that I am looking forward to understanding, because yeah, it was like, am I seeing the familiarness? So are you also being attracted to someone because they have the same energy of the person that had attacked you, because you're then trying to get this person not to attack you? It's almost like you know how they say when girls have daddy issues and stuff like that, they try to attract a guy that's similar, who's gonna then give them what their father did not give them, and same for boys and their mothers. So in this situation, it's like, are you then trying to attract the person, someone similar to the person who had attacked you, so that they can love you rather than attack you? See what I'm saying? So it's like the way that was showing up for me was in that sense, right? So the familiarness of you resemble someone that attacked me energetically or vibrationally, or you're trying to tell me that you are then the same as the abuser, but I'm trying to attract you to change you, or to attract you to have a different experience with you than I did with the abuser, right? So that way I can right the wrong. So, and I remember a couple of years ago, I had realized that I was not my inner child, the little girl me from my past, was not willing to move forward in life, like sabotaging experiences after experiences. Like, it wasn't a conscious sabotaging, because I wasn't aware until I realized that I was not moving forward. And the moment I realized I was not moving forward, it was due to the fact that I was sabotaging myself not to move forward, that I understood that I kept replaying in my mind over and over the scenario being different. I kept wanting to go back as far as I could go back to my memory and change how it happened. And I would always come and find myself at the same place. not able to change it, not able to escape that fear, not able to escape that attack, not able to escape the circumstances, not able to have a different dynamic of my childhood, not able to have a different dynamic of my family. So when I realized that's what my inner child was doing, was like, what's the point of going forward if this is going to happen? How do we know this is not going to happen? Right? And it's like, let's try to go back to the past. Let's travel back in time and let's live there and let's see how we can do different things differently. Let's see if we can see the signs of an abuser, an attacker. Let's see if we can identify the red flags. Let's go back and see. So just refusing to move forward with life and just being like, nope, stubborn. I don't want to get excited about life. I don't want to believe. I don't want to have faith. I don't want to trust that it's not going to happen again. And it took me a long time to fully work around that, right? And just to say, get excited about life, I had on my vision board Dr. Phil, because I remember he used to always say, you need to get excited about your life. And those were around the times where I was starting to become conscious of like, I can be excited about my life. I did experience trauma. I was attacked. I was abused. I did experience neglect. I did feel abandoned. I did feel alone. I did feel not supported. I did feel like I didn't have the right support and process to heal and to mourn and to recover. How can I trust life? I did feel like I didn't trust life. How can I trust God? How can I trust the process? How can I trust that I'm going to be safe? How can I trust myself? If I can't keep me safe and others can't keep me safe, how can I trust life? And I had to choose little by little. And I was beginning to choose because I had reasons and people to live for. I had people to live for. And for them, I started to be more present in my body. That was the one. And I talked to you guys about that before in one of the previous videos. I started to be present because, as I said, I was escaping into the past to try to fix the past. And then I was realizing I was missing the present. I was missing being here. And my kids were growing up and life was going by and circumstances were happening. And I was just in this escape place in my mind, because I had learned how to escape my environment mentally and to pull my presence out of that environment to be safe. So I had practiced that for years. So I had to unlearn that, right? So the part of attracting someone who is an adult but is operating from the unhealed inner child, brought my attention to, could you also be attracting? Because if the adult that had attacked me had the same pattern about them, or had the same, if they were in that same state of being an adult but a kid inside, right? Then am I also attracting based on that energy, trying to heal the energy? Is there another way that my inner child can heal the energy without having to attract it in my life and hoping that that person that I attract into my life will not hurt me the way the abuser did when I was a kid, right? So just to have that awareness for me then gave me the tool to go to my inner child and say, my love, we have been trying to heal this aspect of us, this one energy that we need to disconnect from and release and heal the wrong way. The wrong way. We cannot attract it in a partner who then has to love us, who then has to treat us well, who then has to be good to us and not abuse and attack us. So, my love, this energy, we need to find a different way to heal. So, hearing that, because just hearing like, yeah, some people are stuck in as a child in their adult body, because I'm watching this podcast because I'm learning, and I'm also becoming aware of like attracting a partner into my life. I want a partner in my life. I want a healthy relationship. So I'm paying attention and I'm watching this podcast to receive information that I don't have, to allow me to then do the work within me. Then I can then attract the right partner. So when this gem came from this, I thought, oh, let's start. I didn't even continue. I had to pause the video and I said, I need to come here on Fo's Journey Across the Bridge, and I need to come and talk to you guys about this, because it was like an aha moment for me. The aha moment is your inner child. My inner child has been attracting that to heal that. I've been attracting that same energy, right, of the abuser, of the attacker, so that I can be loved by them. I didn't like that I was attacked by them. I didn't like that I was abused by them, right? I was angry that they did that to me. So I want them to love me instead, because I couldn't go back in the past and change it and correct it. There was still, the inner child is so clever, and the most powerful part of us. So she came up with another way to heal this, to get love through that. So what we're going to do instead, we're going to heal this, and we're going to look for tools to heal this in a way where we don't have to attract someone similar to then come and love us to correct the wrong that was done. So I am looking forward to come back and share with you guys what is the tool that I have used. I feel like, I feel like I'm going to journal about this. I'm going to talk to my inner child. I'm going to ask her, what is it that we need? What is it that we fully need? Which I want to hear it from her voice. I want to journal and let her speak to me, and let her flow through my writing, through our expression of oneself. And then now that we know that, we can say that it's okay that that person didn't love us. Not that it's okay that they didn't love us. We don't need them to love us. And whether we see them as an evil, bad person or not, we don't need someone like them to love us. We don't need someone like that to love us. It goes back to not everyone is going to love you, right? So I've been attracting that, and there was a part of me, because when you're healing and you're bringing different fragmented aspects of you back into wholeness, you still have parts of you that are like, no, we're not moving forward. So even though I had attracted few people that had moved in that sense, where they were adults, but then they were operating from an inner child, because I was there. But because I've been doing the work, I have now, in the last, I don't know how long, have kind of like retrieved from pursuing, or not even pursuing, but like just being interested in pursuing a relationship with someone, because I felt like I could pick up on their energy, and there were certain energies that I was just not willing to engage with. And so that's really interesting, right? So I had been kind of just like allowing myself to keep doing the work, and every time there was an opportunity to have engaged with someone that I was interested in, I would get a realization that I still had more healing to do. I still had more work to do. And then I would say, okay, this is not the right person, or this is not the right time. And so I am so grateful, because I knew there was something. I knew there was something more that was right in between me and that next chapter of my life. That was right before me meeting my life partner. And I didn't know what it was. I just kept doing the work, but at the same time, I was paying attention to people's energy. So if it didn't feel right, we left it alone. But now to know that my dear inner child was attracting that, purposely attracting that energy, so we can heal it through the way of having them love us and not hurt us, was not the way we're going to heal it. So we're going to look for another way to heal that, because I love me. I love my inner child. I love us. I love where we are in our journey, where we are in our life, where I am as a soul. I am in love with me and where I am as a soul. And though there are many things I'm still healing and working through, like healing my brain from the traumatic event, like practicing more and more and being present, because sometimes I look around and I notice, oh my God, my kids are again fully grown, and I'm learning to be more and more and present as stress enters my life, as stress exits my life. I'm learning to be present here in this body, in this experience. And it's okay, so this is what I'm realizing, because I was just asking myself, I thought, how come I was surprised when I had seen like one of my boys with like a beard and like a little bit of beard growing and on the face, and I was like, did I not see you yesterday? And like, where is this coming? Like, it was just like that. And I'm noticing the changes. I'm noticing like the growth, and I'm noticing like, so it almost feel like I wasn't present again. But just now, as I was asking myself, because as I was saying, you know, being more present, I thought, yeah, was I not present when the changes were happening? But what I'm understanding is, as different aspects of me that were fragmented or stepping back in me, right? There are parts of me that couldn't handle a certain stress, so they're like, I'm going to step aside. And every time parts of us don't know how to be in a difficult situation, kind of like step far back or kind of escape the space, we're not fully present in our body to see every experience and to kind of like be part of the experiences that we are actually around, because we're not mentally, we're not emotionally, and we're not spiritually present. So as I had said that, there was a part of me that said, yeah, did you not notice that? So it's like different aspects and layers and fragmented parts of me are just sitting back within me. It's almost like stepping into the car and like one at a time, just stepping in and as they step in, they fuse, like we fuse together. We just incorporate. So it's like one layer put with another layer just becomes one level, and another one, and we're just compounding like on top of one another, but we're not compounding and then remaining divided. We're compounding and then merging. We're compounding and then merging. This is the vision that I just received in my answer to that question that I had asked in my mind. So 3 things I want to leave you guys with. 3 things. 1, if you notice that someone is in their physical body as an adult, but they're operating as a kid, hold compassion and make the decision. Am I attracting this person in my life as a partner or as a friend? And if I'm attracting them as a partner or a friend, then this is mirroring where I am, and I need to go and do my inner work to be conscious enough not to attract that, because first I have awareness that lets me know what's going on in them, so they're mirroring it to me, so thank you for that. But maybe I don't want a partner that's an adult, but it's operating as a kid. I need them to do the work to heal, right? So become conscious and make a decision. So rather than criticizing and judging, make a decision and walk away. Whether it's a friend that you're attracting into your life, or a partner or a life partner, or maybe they play the same role, whichever. Okay. Number 2, not everybody knows. Not everybody knows that they are operating from a trauma response, that they are carrying a personality and they're thinking that personality is who they really are. That those people don't have the consciousness of that. And so from that same space of they don't know that they are operating as a kid, even though they're an adult, again, have compassion rather than judgment and criticism. And if it's someone that you care about, maybe you can let them know, have you noticed that in such a situation, you show up this way? You can choose to do that. You can also go and pray about it and say, God, are you guiding me to say something to this person? Right? Just the awareness that it's possible that they don't know. Because we can't go around saying, why are they behaving like this? Why are they doing that? Maybe they don't have an awareness and also know how hard and painful it is to face the wound of the past. It is not the adult that you're seeing and you're saying to, why are they not brave enough and courageous enough to face the wounds of the past? It is the child. It is the child that is afraid to face the wound of the past. That's why you're seeing the presence of the child in the physical adult body. Okay, so have compassion, knowing that it is the child that is scared to face that. And number 3, if you have come in contact with someone who's then mirroring you, like, you know, like me, someone like me who's maybe mirroring you, showing you that they're doing the healing work and they are conscious of their inner child and what their inner child needs, but also that their inner child is showing up in ways to show them that there's still wounds that need to be healed, right? Have that like curiosity to go back and sit with yourself and say, you know, okay, you know, what in me do I need to then go and explore? This person had shown up this way. You know, this person, like say, if you had seen that I was spelling something and I couldn't spell it correctly, take that and say, you know, what is that telling me? Is it telling me nothing? Is it telling me something about this person? Do I then need to go and ask this person a question and say, oh, how come you haven't learned how to spell this word yet? Or why are you having a difficulty spelling this word? So from that, maybe you can trigger a conversation that can then allow you to learn something that can allow you to grow. So explore and ask people questions if you want in a loving and kind way, because it may assist you in another way. Your awareness and observation of something is not for nothing, is not wasted. When your attention is being brought to something, it's not for nothing. So for me, because I'm conscious that is the way my brain is not able to always retrieve information, is where I get stuck and forget a word that I already know. But I know this about me. So maybe if you ask a question, maybe you can learn something about the family that is in your life. Maybe there's someone in your life struggling with something and you've judged and you criticize them. Maybe you have kids. Maybe there are kids that are showing those type of like symptoms, and you're allowing yourself then to learn and to be able to go back and assist and support them. So anything that is brought to your awareness can teach you something. So explore it further. Explore it further. And if you notice that you are attracting, whether it's friends, whether it's like intimate relationships, or whether it's career or just environments that are not something that you desire to experience, I would ask, why is this being brought to my awareness? Why is this in my environment? Why is this something that I'm noticing? Why am I conscious of what's happening around me? And what is my consciousness telling me about that? So don't just leave it as if it's nothing. I would say explore it. Explore it. There was a time that I was attracting a certain type of people, but then I understood because they had mirrored where I was, right? They had mirrored where I was. And so I'm aware of that. And so as I move that way, I become conscious of that. So thank you for allowing me to come on and share with you guys, because it gave me a realization as I had talked through it. And this is one of the reasons why I journal, because as I'm journaling, I am kind of creating a path out of the maze for myself. I'm solving a puzzle, so it becomes more clear for me. So I hope that you use writing as a tool to allow you to do your healing work. I hope that you can use maybe a recording like this to allow you to do your healing and find ways to assist yourself so that you can actually be fully present in your soul rather than escaping this body and not really taking a full advantage of this human experience. So thank you again for joining me on Fo's journey across the bridge on the healing series. And this specific episode, it's about relationships. It's about when you attract someone who's an adult, but they are really operating from their wounded inner child. So take care, and I look forward to sharing more with you guys. And I look forward to sharing with you guys what is the process and the tool that I had used to help my inner child for us to heal it, so that we don't deliberately want to attract that person who resembles the abuser, so that that person that we attract can love us rather than attack us as the abuser did, because we don't want that. We don't want that. We don't want to do that. And at the same time, we don't want to do the work of healing the abuser. It is not our work to heal the abuser. It is not our responsibility to tell the abuser to heal. It is not our responsibility to offer them tools to heal. It is our responsibility to do the work to heal ourselves. And if we ever inspire anyone through our own healing journey to do the work to heal themselves, then wonderful. But never take on the responsibility, okay, to try to heal someone else. That's codependency, and don't do that to yourself. So thank you again. I'm Fawzia. I hope you guys have an amazing, amazing new year, and be the best version of yourself and take one step at a time towards that. Bye for now.